For our friends out there who came to join us at the celebration of the dedication of our clinic in Msholozi, a huge thank you. It was a special day. It was a special remembering of what God has done. He has brought us so far. Many years, say 8, 9 years of trusting, hoping, dreaming, believing, and then to be here and celebrate that it is done. God has done. We can build an Ebenezer and say, look how far the Lord has brought us. And because of how far He brought us, what is next? How much further will He take us? So a big thank you to everyone who attended and whose hearts, who couldn't be there, but whose hearts were there. We bless you. Thank you for coming. When we approached Jenny and Yvonne, Jenny Holtzhausen and Yvonne Woods, Jenny's the director of ASM Clinic, and we said, we know about this need in the community, that they're desperate for a clinic. Would you be willing to be the covering, the medical, legal covering of the clinic? They jumped on board. Their hearts are like our hearts, to find the ones, the least of the least, and to provide them, give them dignity by giving medical care and listening and seeing and helping and journeying. We have worked well together since the clinic's opening, originally in, I think, 2016. We have worked well together. And as the clinic has evolved and as it's been established as its own entity, a building that's ours, which is amazing, ASM Clinic has been there all through the process, investing of people of the clinic and resources of the clinic. We were approached by Provision International at a time, and this is actually before the clinic took shape. It was at a time we'd been working in the community and it seemed like no doors were opening for us to actually have a clinic in the community. It was so complex, and they challenged me to say, what would you call your ministry? I hadn't really thought of it before. It wasn't really on the books for me. It was just about serving. And I had just been happening, as you do, to read in Genesis the story of Hagar and how she was a foreigner in a foreign land, found herself in a desert with a small baby. And before that, even in pregnancy, all like cast out and alone, and a woman, and how the angel of the Lord had met her on 2 occasions without her even crying out for help. It just said in scripture, it says she cried. It didn't say who she cried to, what she cried about, but she was destitute and she cried. And the angel of the Lord appears to her and he makes her this promise. He gives her water, he makes her a promise. And she says to him, I see the Lord who sees me. So we chose our ministry, the name for our ministry is Roi, which is the God who sees. All of us want to be seen. All of us, we want to be heard and known. But to be the person who sees and hears and knows, that's the privilege. So our ministry is called Roi Ministry, based on He is the God who sees. And by extension, we are His hands and feet, His eyes who see, His ears who hear, His hands who bring relief. The services we provide is children, obviously. We do primary health care in children. We have antenatal, postnatal, meaning new baby. The mommy has been through the clinic during pregnancy, and then she brings her new baby to us, which is always just awesome. Family planning, and then we do HIV testing, TB screening and testing, bilharzia, malaria, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, all of those. So we see a lot of that, a lot of hungry people. We still see a lot of HIV infections. Mpumalanga has the highest rate of HIV in the country. So we do see a lot of that. A lot of HIV-related illnesses. We're seeing a lot of TB also in our community, which is worrying. But because of our presence there, we're picking it up, and we're doing follow-up, and we're getting families tested, and so that's been a huge impact. We do our best to provide food parcels for the old people and, well, for whoever is hungry. We do our best to provide food parcels. What sets our clinic apart isn't just the day, like come on the day, give you medicine, and we send you home. We see it as an opportunity to journey with people. It's always about the journey. For all of us, it's about the journey. We see a patient, there's always a handful that seem to stick for a season. Always, for each one of us as nurses, we could always say there's that one patient that we are extra invested in, that the Lord brought for a reason. And so this is little Angel. Her name is actually in Shangaan is Mahinya, which is like little mother. She's a little mother is what the family call her. She came to the clinic in January. Very ill little girl, just so tiny. She was 8 years old, skinny, with symptoms of TB. And we rushed her through to the hospital. She was acutely ill, but because the parents were foreigners and didn't have money to open a file, she was turned away. I saw her again a couple of weeks later, rushed to hospital again, turned away because the family didn't have money. One of the other ministries in the community who were also engaged with this family phoned and said, Angel is back home again. She's very sick. So we figured out, they couldn't open a file, they couldn't pay for it, so we'll pay for it. This ministry said they would pay. Rushed her through to the local hospital, opened a file, paid, because she's a foreigner, she has to pay more, paid for the file to be opened. She was admitted, and then this long journey started of, she was diagnosed with TB in her brain, TB in her gut, I believe, and TB in her lymph nodes. She was a very, very sick little girl. The family were painfully poor. They are painfully poor. They live, there's an extended family of 25 who live together, who we needed to get everyone tested. It required multiple trips into Msholozi, picking up people, taking them to the local hospital, sitting in queues, waiting, having tests, coming back, dropping them off, picking them up, taking back to get results, taking them to get initiating of the treatment. And with each one of these inconvenient trips was another step into the acceptance within the family. The family are very, very traditional. They have strong traditional beliefs, strong witchcraft beliefs. There are 2 witch doctors in the family, and at one point during the treatment they said they don't think the treatment is working. Can they just rather do traditional? And we just implored them. We said, please, give us this opportunity. Let's see this through. In the meantime, we are just trusting the Lord for a breakthrough for this little life. It was like a battle for her. We would take her to hospital, they'd give the medication, and we would think, man, she's not getting better. And we would say, she's not improving. And they'd send her home. And we would go and visit her, and we could see she's not doing well. And the lymph nodes, the TB in her lymph nodes just exploded, I want to say, into these masses all around her neck, and she just lost weight, and it just got worse before it got better, basically. And we would have to pick her up, take her to hospital, beg the doctors, please, something's not right. Keep going, go and sit with the family, go and do wound dressings. Sometimes every day, go in just to do a wound dressing on all these wounds in her neck. And being welcomed by the family. I want to say from kind of suspicion in the beginning, like, why are you doing this, to seeing us come and meeting us halfway, to carrying our bags, bringing out the chairs, watching us as we do the dressings, as we bring the food, as we kiss her. Right? We make a point of just kissing her on her forehead and telling her how proud we are and how much we love her, and she's going to get better, and trusting. And just this process since January until we are in the end of October, and this month is the first month that her wounds have healed and that she started gaining weight and that there's hope. But in the process, the relationship with the family has been wonderful. They trust us. Even though they're not sure about medicine, they're sure about our commitment and our love for them and sitting with them. And now they on occasion have phoned and said, you know, so-and-so has a burn. What do we do? Can you help us? And so-and-so is sick. What do we do? Can you help us? Whereas before that would never have been an option. They would never have even come to the clinic. I think they brought Angel because as a last resort. And so now in December she'll have her last treatment by God's grace, and we will have a celebration. We will get chicken dust and chips and celebrate with the family what God has done. It isn't just about the medicine. The medicine is a ways to the means. Medicine is a tool to just get in, because when people are sick, they're at their most vulnerable and they're most open, and you have opportunity to treat that vulnerability and that openness with kindness and with grace and with much love, and to step in. It's an invitation to step into someone's world and to journey with them. And it is profoundly rewarding, very frustrating, very painful, often very inconvenient, but man, so God-honoringly rewarding. So we are going to celebrate Angel in December. We're going to have a big feast to celebrate what God has done in her little life. Come visit. The hearing of the story is one thing, and man, it's a privilege to share. And hearing the story is impactful, but seeing the story and smelling the story and touching the story is a whole new thing. We have often had folk, friends, who have come alongside us, who have just wanted to come see and have been blown away. It's become meaningful to them. It's an encouragement of humanity. It's an encouragement that there's good stuff happening. It's not just bad. There are good people who love people, and people who come and help us make a garden. We've had that. That was beautiful. We want our clinic to look beautiful. They come and they make a garden in our clinic. They bring food. They weigh babies. They sometimes just sit and watch, observe. Sometimes just sit and chat with the patients and get into their lives and hear what is life like for you. You are welcome to come. You can contact us on either Provision International website under Roi Ministries, or through ASM Clinic website. You can contact me, Jacqui, or Elmarie, and we will make a point to meet somehow. And if it's in your heart to commit donation, funds for food or for medicine or for the staff to pay salaries, on either one of those platforms there are ways to get in touch with us. That is always very welcome, but your presence is most welcome. Like in Isaiah 58, where it says, "This is my true fast." It says, clothing the naked, feeding the hungry, looking after the widows, looking after the orphan. It is so hands-on. It is about speaking up for justice, about righteousness. Our gospel isn't a passive gospel. It's a proactive, living out gospel. And there's so much opportunity in the traffic lights where people are begging, in the communities around us. Here in our community in White River and Mbombela, it's right next door. It's the first stop street you hit when you leave town. It's a short ride. And opportunity to live out God's heart, opportunity to be God's kingdom. So please, feel free, come visit us. We would love to have you.